Hello Pisces, welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Pisces is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment, consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. If there is anything you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I might provide. And remember, Pisces, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And Ten of Cups, beautiful. This is satiety. This is the feeling of fullness, right? This is the fullness of life. And I feel like maybe this is your energy right now. Maybe you really are feeling this kind of fullness. Or at least you feel that you've got all your cups lined up, right? And you're filling each of them up to the top. So in other words, I feel like you're somebody who really knows what they want. You have a lot of goals set up. You know what your best life is going to look like. You know what happiness means to you. And now it's just a matter of steadily filling up each of these cups. I don't think you're doing things one by one. I don't think you're just like, well, I'm just going to focus on career right now and that's it, or just on spirituality and that's it. I feel like you're in this holistic, wholesome kind of energy where you're trying to put a good amount, I was going to say an equal amount, but a good amount of energy into everything that you're doing, every aspect of your life, all these cups that go in to make your kind of picture perfect life. What does that look like to you? I feel like it's kind of a rhetorical question, but maybe you should leave a comment on this video and tell me, what does perfect happiness mean? It's one of those age-old questions, right? It's one of those impossible to answer philosophical questions. I feel like you can answer it. I feel like anybody asks you, what is happiness to you? You can probably list, 10 things that altogether equal this kind of perfect, happy life. Okay. And now I think we're looking to manifest all of these. I think that you're somebody with, you have a really big heart. I feel like you have a huge tolerance for people. I feel like it takes a lot to really get you angry. When you do, watch out. But I think it really, you have a lot of ability to withstand. You have a lot of resilience. But I think more than even resilience, it takes a lot to knock you down. It takes a lot to overwhelm you. It takes a lot to shock you. You're somebody that can really handle a lot of things. And even maybe people that really need a lot of things from you, or that a lot of people rely on you for a lot of things. I feel that you're someone people go to when they have very strong emotions and they don't know what to do with them, or they've never had them before or whatever. They know they can go to you because you're strong in that way. You're strong by being flexible, by being soft, right? I think you have an ability to really help people in that way. I think you're the shoulder that people really kind of want to cry on. I think maybe at times this becomes a little bit much for you because you got your own stuff to deal with. You've got your own life. You got your own 10 cups that you're trying to fill up. But I think that you're sharing a lot of your water to fill up other people's cups. And then you get back to yours, you try to fill yours up again, but then more people and more other, But I feel like that's kind of part of your work too. It's part of what really makes you happy is your ability to help other people. I think as overwhelming as it can sometimes be, you like being there for your people. You know, you like being that kind of a support. Let's see what we're doing with this energy. This is really good stuff. Good energy. We've got now a Queen of Pentacles. There may be an older female Virgo energy in your life, or maybe just a female energy generally that is perhaps taking a lot of water from you, right? This could be one person in particular who is very much relying on your energy for support. And maybe this is some of the issue right now in your life, is that this person seems to really be maybe taking you for granted, or taking. But it's, you know, I think that when people find a source of water, when they find a source of comfort, when they find a source of anything, right, a resource, they know they can keep going back. That's why it is a resource, right? Because it means you can resource it, you can reconnect with it, you can keep going back, right? So if you're a resource to others, it means that they're going to keep coming back. Yeah. And there might be one particular person, feels like an older female energy, that keeps coming back. And it's maybe starting to be a little too much, feeling taken for granted, that sort of thing. I feel like this card also in another way is talking about you remembering something. What is it that you need to remember that's going to bear on your situation right now? Okay. Let's keep going with the cards. We'll see how this Queen of Pentacles might evolve throughout the reading. But underneath everything, we've got the Eight of Pentacles. So the Eight of Pentacles, I think one thing that you have to remember is that your energy is finite. You know, that if you are this tree that is bearing fruit and providing nourishment to other people, it's not an infinite thing, right? It's not eternal. There has to be a limit to it. And I think that this is really, this is something that you're trying to work on right now, is being able to turn off the tap of your kind of emotional generosity, you know. You're always going to be there for your people. That's not the issue. But I think when it starts to feel as if you're being taken advantage of or taken for granted, there's the question of, well, do I then pull back a little bit? Do I close the tap? When you close the tap, right, people are going to notice. When the well is no longer a resource, when the well kind of runs dry even, or when the water level gets kind of low, people are going to notice, right? When we start having to ration our water, that's when people are going to really pay attention. And so I feel it's the same way with our emotional energy. If you are just a little bit less accessible, a little bit less available to everybody, people are going to notice that. Okay? Well, I don't know what the solution is really with this. You're somebody too who I think you're aware of the finite resource that you are, you know, that your vitality, that your water energy is not unlimited. And so how much are we supposed to give to others, and how much are we supposed to keep for ourselves? What's fair? What's right? What's just? What's ethical? You know? I feel also that you recently healed from something, because you're very aware that your resources are finite, because I think you just got over an illness of some kind. I don't know if you were in the hospital or somebody around you was on life support or something, but I feel like there's been a return to a healthy state, and now it's like, I've got to safeguard this now. Now I really realize, I'm acutely aware of how fragile this really is. Okay, so it might be really a time of reprioritizing for you. Let's continue on with a few more cards. Was in the past, but yeah, there we go. Of course, Nine of Swords. Yeah, this is the past position. This is something that's still very much on your mind. And I feel like this was that illness. And it may not have been you, may have been somebody close to you. But I feel like somebody was, it was serious, right? But I think there's been a recovery. And we kind of see that too. Well, it's interesting now we go from the 8 to the 9 to the 10. But from the 9 to the 10, I feel like this is also kind of indicating that there's been a recovery. But it's still kind of fresh. This wasn't a long time ago. I feel like this is pretty recent. And I think that it is it is an awareness that life is fragile, and that our energy is finite. So with this kind of going on, it's almost a wonder now with how much you're always there for other people, how many of those same people were there for you, right? And it's not a competition. It's not like we're keeping track, we're keeping score. Well, I was there for you 5 times, you're only there for me 4. That's, not like that. But I mean, when we're going through a trouble, a crisis, an illness, anything kind of serious, it allows us to assess where we're putting our own energies. Okay? It forces us sometimes to reprioritize our lives. Not just in terms of your relationships with other people, but in terms of what we're doing, with our energies, I went through a crisis about, it's been a long time now. It was 2010. So yeah, I mean, getting on to 14 years now. Actually, in a couple months, it'll be 14 years, September. I was in the ICU, hospitalized, organ failure, had a liver transplant. It was rough. It was death's doorstep, right? And it really forced me to reprioritize what I'm doing with my time, with my energy, with my finite resource of life force, okay? And so it's not only about the relationships that we choose to give our time and energy to, but also, what I'm nourishing myself on, what I'm consuming, what I'm, my lifestyle, my habits, my focus internally, spiritually. Big shift for me. Really big shift for me. And I feel like this is something that everybody goes through at some point, not always with the same details. It's not always like an illness and a hospitalization or something. It's not always that, but it's something. There will always be something in life that will force us to reprioritize things. Okay? Let's see what's at the top here. Now looking to the future. Now we have the Knight of Pentacles. Very interesting. We've got the Queen looking at the past. We've got the Knight now looking at the future. So I feel like this is what this is what you're kind of being told to remember. I do think that the Queen of Pentacles might be representing one particular person, but maybe it's just people in general. But it's also the instruction for you to remember this. Right? Remember this. And use this now to see your future. And the way things are going now in your life, what is the future that you see? And this is, I think, the conscious work that you're involved with right now. You're trying to have this vision of your long-term life. What is it 5, 10, 20 years down the road? And I remember doing this too when I was in my crisis. I remember thinking, what is my life expectancy now? Having a liver transplant, what is my 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 year survival? What am I going to be doing in 20 years? What am I going to be doing in 10 years? Will I even make it 5 years? I don't know what the odds are. But I know that I am absolutely blessed for being 14 years out from a liver transplant, with many, many, many more years, in the foreseeable future. And so we have to kind of project our consciousness forward and see, where am I going to be? Who am I going to be? What am I going to be doing in 5 or 10 years? If I stay on this path, does something need to change? Okay, does something need to change? So by looking at the future, by looking at the past, we then can look at the future with a little bit more insight. And I can say, where do I want to be? Who do I want to be? And what do I want to be doing 5 or 10 years, 20 years? And then we can reverse engineer it, and I can say, I know what I need to do now in order to assure that future is still in the cards, so to speak. So let's do the future position. 5. Yeah, some fire energy. We have fire, water, air, and a lot of earth. The earth is really your particular work at this moment, what your kind of inner spiritual, psychological, evolutionary, self-development kind of work is here. But in a very practical way, our next move is the 5 of Wands. And the 5 of Wands is Saturn in Leo, right? It's kind of this discipline with our fire energy. So in some ways, this is about regulating our vital life force, learning how to use the knob on the stove. We don't want to cook everything on high, right? You don't always turn the oven up to 500 or to broil or whatever it does. You don't cook everything at the highest temperature. We don't always give you don't always floor the accelerator in the car. You don't always, if you're on a hike or something, right? You're on this kind of long-term journey. You don't just chug your water bottle right at the beginning and then you're empty. You sip it throughout the day. You keep a little bit here and there. You keep yourself going rather than just expending it all at once and it's gone. So this is about that kind of regulation of our own emotional energy, but also our physical life force energy. Physical energy, all this stuff, right? And this is the card of kind of turning the heat down or closing the tap even, right? Righty-tighty. Turning the tap down a little bit, water comes out a little bit slower, people are going to notice, okay? So that's why this is fire energy. Because, too, this is going to create maybe a little bit of discord. People are going to notice. They're going to say, hey, what's up? Why? What's going on? And it has to be something that you are confident in, because someone complains, you're going to end up just opening the tap back up. Okay, sorry. That's why this is fire energy, because we have to be ready. We have to be ready for the opposition to the changes that we're making in our lives. Let's select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown, and we're going to put Tiny Bob Ross right on top. We're not going to look at that card until the very end, but it will tie everything together and it will give us the confirmation that we need. If you have a prediction for it, drop it in the comments. All right. We're going to talk about the path of the serpent now, and as we do this, I would like to ask for your subscription. If you haven't subscribed, please do. It's free, it helps out the channel, and I really, really do appreciate that. All right. Okay, so general energy, path of the serpent, star, beautiful, perfect. This is really the inspiration from spirit. This is you kind of, even though you're creating some sort of conflict or discord in your life, which, in some ways it's like, I don't care, right? Because you have this spiritual certainty, you have this spiritual insight. There's been a revelation. You know that what you're doing is essential for you and your path and your fate. Nobody else is responsible for your life. If you give all of your water away, or you drink it all in the first 5 minutes of your marathon run, well, that's on you, right? So if you choose to kind of keep your water bottle and not give everybody else a sip, that's your right to do it, okay? Now, I'm not saying that we're not sharing. I'm not saying that we're not being generous, but you have to make sure that there's enough left over for you. And I'm sorry if this is kind of, too heartless or something, or if this is too self-centered, or maybe it's supposed to be. Maybe it's really meant to be. If we think of the Ten of Cups as all of this energy going out in every direction, it's exhausting this resource. Maybe you need to save some for you, okay? Because like I said at the beginning, you know what happiness means to you. And really the Knight of Pentacles, what are they looking at? They're looking at the 10, usually the 10 of Pentacles, but in this case we can say the 10 of Cups. Looking at the ideal life, the future, the picture-perfect happiness that we want to create in our future, long-term, whatever it is, a year, 5, 10 years, 20 years, whatever. You're looking at this, and this is what you want to create. We will never get there if we are always kind of giving away, giving away all of our energy, giving away all of our efforts, all of our time, space, energy, whatever you want to call it. Okay, it doesn't mean that we are closing things off completely. That's not what the Five of Wands is about. It's not completely closing the tap, but this is the ability to regulate that effort, that energy, knowing how much to give to others outside, but knowing how much to keep for ourselves. You need some too, So the Star card here, I think, is you understanding, the necessity of all of this. We look at the star, we see the water energy, the spiritual water, right? The divine light, the divine waters coming in through the top. We're full of this divine energy. And then it's also our job to give it away, right? We're not holding it, we're not hoarding it. It's coming into us and we're letting it flow through us and we're giving it away to everybody else. But you can bet that there's a little bit staying inside here. We got to keep a little bit just to keep the system running, So it is our, I think, responsibility to share our gift, to share our love, to have these relationships with people and to be there and to be generous in spirit. But it's also your duty and your responsibility to make sure that you have what you need, because you're no good to anybody if you're exhausted or run down, or if we lose some of this essential life force, then no one's getting anything from you. So I don't know exactly if we're talking about financially or just that with that emotional energy exchange, or if it's something different, but it's the idea that we have to keep a little bit for ourselves. We have to share. We have to be generous with this energy, but we also need to make sure that you have enough to pursue your goals and to attain and manifest your long-term plans in life. Okay? So I think this is an essential card, and this to me is telling me that's not really an ethical issue. It's not a philosophical thing. It's very practical. In the environment, we have the sun. And I think that this is interesting to have, because here's the star and here's the star up close and personal. So these two cards together say that, yes, you have these long-term goals. This is the star, far away. My destination, my dream is way out there. Now, my dream is, whoa, right here. Right here, I'm feeling it. It's like I can touch it. It's right here in front of me. So to me, this is the way that you are getting closer to your ideal life, that you are... through this energy, you're able to approach your dream life, your happiness, your picture perfect, best life, happiest energy. Okay, but this card's also illuminating something in your environment. And so what I kind of feel with that is that it's showing you what's what. Nothing is hidden here. So this is kind of like you turn the light on, you see everybody scurrying on the floor. This is really through this process, and we're not doing it for that reason, but it's going to be a side effect of this process, is that you're going to see people for who they really are. There are no shadows, right? So that shadow side of you, the shadow side of other people, not shadows anymore. Now it's you can see it, When the sun is at high noon, there's no shadows. Nothing is hidden. You're seeing both sides of people inside and out. There's really this kind of, it's almost a divine perception. It's almost this enlightened kind of mind or consciousness that is able to see people for who they truly are. Okay, and you'll be able to see those people that really are authentic people that want to be there to celebrate with you and to encourage you. And those people that, there's some people that we give and give and give from ourselves, and we feel depleted, we feel exhausted, we feel drained, we feel that we've just given all of our spiritual energy out, and now I've got to recover from that. But there are other people in life that we give and give and give our energy, and we don't feel that we've lost anything. In fact, we feel stronger. We feel that we've gained from that interaction, right? There are people that drain us, and there are people that fill us back up through that exchange. And I think you're finding who's who and what's what in your life. Okay? And I think that's important. And that's, to me, that's kind of a Taoist approach, where we want to be that way with everybody, right? That I want to be able to just give and give and give and never feel exhausted. Theoretically, that would be great, but in a practical sense, I don't know that it works that way. Okay? In the Tao of our lives, in our very particular Tao, which is not the eternal Tao, right? Right? The path that can be walked is not the eternal path. It is finite. Yeah. What's the obstacle to all of this for you? Maybe some water energy. No, it's the fire energy. It's the Eight of Wands, swiftness. As the fear, the worry, the concern, the difficulty. I think the difficulty, really, I don't feel that this is a difficulty at all, really. I feel like this is freeing up a lot of energy in the system, and maybe it's just kind of like, it's suddenly you've simplified your life. Now you've got all this time on your hands. Well, what am I going to do with it all? I feel like this is really the release of a lot of energy that's been allocated, that's now being recycled. It's energy that's able to stay in the system and keep things moving, right? We've freed up a lot of resources here. And now maybe this is, if there is an obstacle here, it's a good obstacle. If there is a problem, it's a good problem to have. It's just too much energy that you have now, and you've got to figure out where you want to put it. Which cup do you want to fill up? Where is this energy going to go? We've reclaimed some energy in our lives, and now it's just a matter of reassigning it, And that's a very good problem to have. The next card that we see on the path of the Serpent is the Two of Wands. Now, the Two of Wands could be a development of things, because when we've got the Five, we think, okay, there's going to be we've got to strive for a balance here. We're gonna close the tap a little bit, but not all the way, right? I'm going to be in control of what I choose to engage with in my life, in order for me to pursue those goals and dreams that I have, that I want to pursue. The Two of Wands might be us getting a little bit tempted by that power. Now I want to shut the tap off and turn it back on frivolously, just to see people, just to get a rise out of people. For some reason, it reminds me of any of these kind of action movies where there's a villain that has control over the water supply or something, and it's just arbitrarily setting, limitations and just arbitrarily turning things off and back on again just to exercise the power, We don't want to do that, right? We don't want to do that. But I see that that's kind of where it's going, but we can also use this to our advantage, because this is really, this is your ability to very easily direct your energy where you need it to go. And sometimes we don't, sometimes we can't be nice all the time, right? So I don't mean to be unkind. There's a difference between being nice and being kind. Sometimes we have to stand up for ourselves and say no, right? And that's kind of this too of, it's kind of like my daughter does this to me. I ask her to do something and she'll just go like this, right? She says no. And I say, okay, maybe we can talk about it. But that's kind of what I feel with this card. It's just a very strong, very adamant, very forceful, if need be, no. Okay? And I think as human beings, we have a difficulty, some of us do, I certainly do at times, we have a difficulty saying no to people that we care about or that care about us. It's hard to say no to a family member. It's hard to say no to someone that we care about or that cares about us, or that there's maybe some feeling of connection or obligation or responsibility or whatever it is. We've got to learn to say no to things that we don't necessarily like, things that we don't want as part of our life, as part of our energy, right? So it's the same way that my wife and I were teaching our daughter to say no. She's 4 years old. She doesn't like something. She doesn't want somebody coming up and pinching her cheeks or something. She'll say no. And I want that for her. And I want that for all of us. The ability to keep our sacred space sacred. Let's look at the mystery card. I want it to be some water energy. That's what we need. We got a little bit fired up with the fire, right? I want some more water energy to say that, look, we're still in this very harmonious, very loving, very giving, very generous, very connected, very intimate life with our people, our pets, our plants, whatever. Maybe a 3 of Cups. Maybe it's even going to be a return to the 10. Maybe we start at the 10, we come full circle back to the 10. Because this is not just an arbitrary thing where I'm turning the tap on and off just to mess with people. I'm just saying no and yes randomly to people just to, exercise my power like I'm Mr. Burns or something. This is for a reason. This is for my own well-being. This is for my health, spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally. Maybe it'll be a 9 of Cups. If you have a prediction, put it in the comments. Oh yeah, look at that, 10 of Cups. There is a purpose in all of this. There is an ideal. There is a life that you're trying to build. There's an experience of the universe that you want for yourself, for your family, your pets, your plants, your people, right? And in order to get this best life, in order to get this dream come true, this perfect happiness in your life, you have to be able to say no to things. To get all the water, we got to be able to utilize some of that fire. Okay. And so we're coming first full circle to the 10. This is that fullness of life. And this is really, and see, the figures in this card are very thankful. There's a lot of gratitude. There's a lot of humility. There's a lot of love. There's a lot of gracious generosity here. There's a thankfulness, an appreciation for everything that we have. And I think that we've got to safeguard that. We've got to protect that for ourselves internally and in the world around us. This is good. This is a return now to that focus of this fullness of life. Now we're going to do an extended reading as well if you want to stick around. There is a link up top. There's one down below. New readings for Pisces every Thursday and Sunday, 6 a.m. Chicago time. If you have not subscribed yet, please do. It's totally free. It doesn't cost anything. Leave a comment. Let me know where in the world you're watching from, especially if this is your first time here. I would love to hear from you. Welcome to the channel. There's room for everybody. Yeah. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you, and I love you, and we're all in this together.